Hi, this is Ennis from Never Stop Trucking. And if you're first time here on this channel, we are talking about dispatching trucking businesses and whatever is useful to you as a dispatching or a trucking company. I review softwares, I tell you what I'm using, and then I tell you my experiences from all that. And then if you have any questions, you can also ask me in comments, and then I will be glad to answer them as much as I know about that topic. Now, one of those questions that you guys have been asking me, is it possible to transition from a driver to a dispatcher? And how would that work? And my answer to you is yes, it's totally possible, and it's actually really desirable for a dispatcher to have a trucking and driving experience. One of the things that helped me in this business is that I used to drive. I drove for about 10 years. I always say 10 years, give or take, because most of that has been with drive and semi truck, and that was over the road. I went to almost all states in United States, and for a short time, I also drove a straight truck. And when I became a dispatcher, I had an advantage over other dispatchers who did not have any driving experience. Now, they were able to call loads, they knew how to behave when they speak to brokers and to drivers. They also knew the markets better, the rates, and they had a general experience of handling phone calls, computer paperwork, and all the busy uh, things that they were doing in the office. Like when I'm by myself and you see that in my videos, it's somewhat relaxed. But if you're in a big office where you have 5, 6, 20 dispatchers, and then usually they have this open concept, and it can be really frustrating, and it gets really busy, and you hear people talking, and especially if you have a lot of drivers, then you can hear whatever is happening to the dispatcher next to you. They're under stress, they're trying to solve a problem, and the other guy over there is yelling, and another guy is just getting out to get a smoke because they're so frustrated and stressed out, and then you here are trying to concentrate on your work. So yeah, that can be really challenging. But when you come in to an environment like that and you have driving experience, you have a big advantage in that kind of if you're in that kind of position. So once you learn how to make phone calls and how to deal with brokers and how to do the paperwork and look for loads, once you learn the market rates, like where to send your drivers, because like if you're a driver, you're used to going to one area. Most probably there are certain areas that you never went to. And then if you are a company driver, you probably don't know the rates either. If you are owner operator, you probably know the rates, but only to that certain area where you went as a driver. Now you are here and you're dealing with the whole United States, maybe even Canada and Mexico, and it's just too much because like you don't know, like if you're looking for a driver to send to Florida and you never been there, then it's hard for you to know whether you're even going to send a driver to Florida, which area, how should you plan the route. So those are the challenges that you might be dealing with at the beginning, but that takes only a short amount of time because like we said, you already have a general knowledge of the business. But when we speak about your advantages over other dispatchers is that um, you know how to drive a truck, you know how the truck works, you know how many miles a driver can safely do in a day or two. You know where all the companies are, the way stations, the truck stops, fuel stops. You know which routes our best to take to certain areas. You know where, like when you see an area, you know that the truck cannot go that way. You know the truck has to go this way. You know the tolls. I mean, you know everything about trucks. And when you speak to a broker, when you book a load, they will sense that you know what you're talking about as far as that goes. Like when I book loads, I've been to a lot of these companies and these places, and I know how they work. I know if you need an appointment there. I know how to get there. I know how long they're loading and unloading. And then even if the broker tries to tell you one thing, you know that that's not true. You know whether that broker knows it or not. I am not going into that, but you know how that shipper works or receiver. You know if you can get there early and stuff like that. So you have an advantage too as far as booking loads and negotiating the loads with brokers, because you know these shippers, you know the roads, and you know the trucks. You know how many miles you can drive in a day. If a broker tells you, like, you gotta be there, this is 800 miles, and then you gotta be there next morning, a dispatcher that does not have knowledge about hours of service, they're gonna be okay. Well, but if you know that that's not possible to do, it's not legal, it's not possible unless you have a team, then you can say, hey, can this deliver in the afternoon or tomorrow? And then you have an advantage like that. So now these are only few things that I'm talking about. There are a lot of other things when it comes to being a dispatcher with trucking experience. Another thing is drivers. Drivers will trust you more. When you talk to drivers that are there on the road, then they will know, that you feel them. You know how it is to be in their shoes, to be in the truck, and drive all night and sleep in the truck, shower at truck stops, eat in a truck, and and most importantly, away from your family and friends and your home. So you know how it is, and then you're trying to help them. You're trying to give them the best loads that's going to be easier for them to do. You're not pushing them, and when they need to come home, you're gonna do your best to bring them home, etc. So drivers will like that as well. So now that's another advantage of you being a dispatcher with trucking experience. So when you ask yourself if you can make it, yes, of course you can make it. And there are a few reasons why you want to be a dispatcher. Of course, you may not make as much money, most probably, but dispatchers who are very capable of doing things, they get the best pay. So you will advance, like if you're working for a company, you will advance very soon, and you can always come to the table, to the boss, to the manager, and tell them, hey, well, I learned a lot, I have all this experience, I feel like I deserve more. But also, if you're trying to get into independent dispatching and you want to do it this way, you want to open up your own small company and then start dispatching carriers and owner operators, then that's a same thing there. You have an advantage when you call the owner operator. You can tell them, I have been driving for that long. I know the areas, I know the markets, and then I can find you best loads. I feel you, and then they will appreciate that, and they will feel the trust, and they will know that you're honest, and then you're there to help them and to make it as easy for them as you can. So those are my points about being a dispatcher who has a trucking experience, and I know it's possible. If you're planning to do it for whatever reason, I think that it's totally fine to transition, and that at the end it can only mean good things for you down the road. Like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel if you like what you're seeing. I hope to make a lot more videos in the future. I'll see you around. Thanks for watching.